So we came up with this name because we're both law students. She's an attorney. Michael, do you want to explain a little more?
That's about it.
He came up with the name. He came up with it. It was genius.
So, yeah, we are starting a podcast. We did a podcast last month, and it was actually for the school. And we just enjoyed it so much, and we kind of vibed really well. And all of us kind of wanted to do a podcast like separately
on our own.
On our own. So we decided to do one together, and we were trying to think of what we should call it and what the name should be. And Haley came up with some good names like The Booth or
what was the other one? Three's Company. That was a good one.
And Sabrina, yours was
I liked Life After 30.
Life After 30.
This young
But I'm not 30.
prevented that one from happening.
I mean, honestly, it would be I was thinking, like, for me and you, I think that would be dope. Especially for me, because it's like, my life is, like, totally different now than it was when I was younger.
When she hits 30, she's going to be like, oh, now I understand. Because all the topics that we're going to cover are young adult topics. And young adults are very often related to people who are in their young 30s, obviously in their 20s.
Life really does change, like, in your 30s and when you get closer to there.
Mid-20s, too.
Yeah, it does, for sure.
Not a change for the good, so stay young as long as you can.
Yeah.
You're 25, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I'm almost 26, February 22nd.
I don't even know who I signed up to do a podcast with.
I know, baby over there.
This is how great
You're 30,
this is going
right?
to be. It's going to be wonderful.
You're 30, right?
I'm 30, yep.
Okay.
30.
So anyways, the point was we were going to do a
You're
podcast
30, right?
together. Yeah, 30.
Okay.
We were going to do a podcast together, and we want to do something that's not legal related, even though Sabrina's an attorney and we are law students and law clerks. So the idea is this is not a legal podcast, and that's the name that we're going with.
Yes.
But the idea is to just talk about life and everything that's going on, and yeah, we really don't have any specific direction, which is great. I think we have like a clean slate. We can come in, we can talk about whatever we want. We can fucking cuss if we want. And so I'm just going to start it off with an F-bomb just because, you know.
Yeah.
Just because we can.
But you can rap if you want. We can do whatever we want.
Freestyle on Fridays. I only freestyle on Fridays.
Oh, Freestyle Friday.
Okay,
Yeah,
I like that.
Not on Saturdays, though. Sorry,
yeah,
you don't get my freestyles.
We're going to be filming on Saturdays, like at least for the time being. Sabrina's not crazy about the idea. She's like obviously a professional, so she's you know, Saturdays
busy.
are her days. What do you normally do on Saturdays? Let's talk about that. You know, like she was like super against the Saturdays.
Yeah, I don't want to have it at Saturday night though. That was crazy.
Yeah, I'm like,
we don't
okay,
go
so
out on Saturday nights. Yeah.
Let me explain that. I have kids. Like Saturday, A, I never go out. B, Saturday nights, if anything for me, are like I go home and watch a movie by myself.
Aww.
So I'm like, oh, I'd be down. Like that'd be a great way to do, you know, spend my Saturday evening. And I'm in bed by like 10, 11 o'clock.
Well, I go to bed pretty early
I do too.
as well. So
On Saturdays?
sometimes it depends on what I'm doing. So the reason why Saturdays are going to be hard for me is because obviously I work a very Monday through Friday based job. I don't only work Monday through Friday. I work through the weekends too sometimes, but those are the days that I can totally dedicate to doing something else. So I plan trips to go out of town. Like I went to Paso Robles last weekend. I've got concerts that are
lined
booked.
up.
Yeah, that I bought tickets like from months ago, you know. So I just try to, I realize it's easier to manage my social life if I plan it. Like I used to love that spontaneous, like, oh yeah, let's just all assume that we're all going to get together and go out tonight and go drink or go party. But for me, just like work, it's just easier if I have things pre-planned. And most of those things that I can freely pre-plan without worrying about is on a Saturday.
Yeah, which is a perfect example of life after 30.
Yeah.
Like you're literally planning out your social life in advance. Like I've never done that, and well, I don't have a social life anymore, but that's because I have kids. But like, yeah, it's funny because as you get older, you know, you lose that spontaneity, and is that a word, spontaneity?
Yeah, it is.
Or,
It is.
Okay, I don't know how to say that, but
said it.
anyways, you know, you start planning that type of stuff out, and I mean, I guess as you get older, you kind of have to force yourself into like those social events. Like if not, then you'd probably just end up like hanging around in your PJs at home.
Yeah, and on the days that I don't have stuff planned, I definitely just stay home. You know, we will go out and, you know, go have a cocktail or something in like near the downtown area because we live in downtown Orange.
Oh, okay.
I've
never been there.
Yeah, so
How downtown? Like
he's
circle?
he's like a half mile away from the circle.
That's what it is. Okay. I know.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll like go down there, but not even that often. You know, we're tired.
Yeah.
We work a lot, and like I don't know how people who are in their young 30s work full time or go to school full time and have kids, and I don't even I applaud you because I feel like I can't get my life together, and it's just me and two dogs.
You make sacrifices. That's what I'm saying. Like I can't remember the last time I went out. I think it was probably sometime this past summer. You know, I go out, I mean like go out and have some drinks or something. I have not been to the movie theater in like probably 3 years, like since my son was born.
Gosh.
He's 2.5, like since before he was born. And like I've really been craving lately to just like go to a movie theater because it's so like I can watch movies at home and stuff, but even if I'm watching movies at home, part of me is like, oh, I'm gonna just do a little cleaning while I'm watching the movie, or I'm gonna do when you go to the movie theater, you're like forced. Yeah, like oh, I gotta do something. Take care of the dog, clean up this, pick up that, whatever. Like when you have a bunch of crap going on.
I haven't been to the movie theater in 2-3 years voluntarily.
Really? I go like every month. I love the movies.
You don't like the movies?
I have no patience for it. I talk through movies.
I do that too, though. I do that too.
I talk a lot in movies.
Yeah.
People hate it.
No, black people talk a lot in movies.
They
When we see our movies, we love to talk through it.
Maybe I'm black then because I talk a lot in movies. I'm like, oh shit, what's gonna happen?
Deep
Oh
down.
shit, this is gonna happen. Oh fuck.
I do that too. I love telling movies. Like what
I love
happens.
guessing.
I love spoiling. I love guessing.
I love guessing what's gonna happen.
Love it.
And it's funny because my daughter's mom, she thinks like I've watched like every movie that we watched together. She's like, you've already seen this, haven't you? I'm like, no. She's like, how do you know that was gonna happen? Because I just enjoy like guessing, and you can kind of tell. Like movies, you know, they have a plot and everything. But then Hudson's mom, my son's mother, friggin' would hate it. We couldn't watch like anything together because I had like talking. She's like, shh, shh. Like she wants silence. I'm like, dude, this is like we're watching a movie together or a show. Like let's talk about it. Like what was the meaning of whatever just happened? Like is
like
there
pausing it? Like wait.
I wouldn't pause it. I'll just talk over it, and then I'll be like, wait, what did we just miss? Rewind.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about you being a
Father.
full-time all-star law student and being a great dad to 2 kids from 2 baby mamas.
2 baby mamas.
Yeah.
That shit's hard.
That's a lot of juggling. You gotta juggle law school, you gotta juggle
And
kid
they
1,
seem like they're
kid
cool
2.
too. Like both the baby mamas are seem like
Did
they're
you see
cool.
that picture or?
He posted a
any of my
Halloween
Instagram
picture.
stuff
I don't know if I saw that.
of me and my kids on Halloween with their
I'll show
moms.
No, I didn't see the whole thing. No.
You didn't see? I posted a picture. On
I
Instagram.
saw one photo, I think, of something, but I don't
And you
know.
didn't
I'm
fucking
not
like it.
sure.
Wow. I love it when people.
I'm
I see
not-
people and they're like,
what's
"Oh
your
wow, like that was so cool. I saw you and your baby
He
mama
just-
hanging out." I'm like, "And you didn't like the picture? Fuck you."
Oh,
I
I didn't like the picture.
No,
I
it's-
liked it though. I
You
just liked
just
it
like it right now. It's cool though. No, I
Sorry.
get it. I see tons of shit on Instagram too, and I don't like
You're
it.
just like,
But I just
"Oh,
like calling people
yeah."
out. It makes them feel mad awkward. I did that to my friend Blaine here a couple months ago. He's like, "Oh, I saw that whatever blah blah." And I'm like, "You didn't like it, bro?" He's like, "Oh, I'm like, dude, no, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. It's not that big of a deal."
That's
But
so funny.
yeah, they're cool. I mean, they get along and stuff, and I guess you know what's funny is people are kind of shocked by it, and I'm just like I feel like that's normal. Like I think that the appearance that is normally that you hear about is that like baby mamas and like girlfriends
Drama.
with previous kids and that and the other wouldn't get along and there'd be drama. But I think the majority of situations they get along. Like let's say your boyfriend that you have right now, he had kids from a prior like relationship, or I think that typically you and this other baby mama would get along. I think that's what normally happens. But what we hear about on like Jerry Springer and Dr. Phil are the cases where it's like they're
Judge
not
Judy.
getting along. Yeah, exactly. What we see is them not getting along. But I think typically they, and it goes both ways for guys and for girls,
One, we should post that photo so that our listeners can get to know us, but also
It's
because that is an awesome
so cute.
photo.
Thanks, yeah.
And totally want to talk about that. And I was thinking that's a good topic after 30, or we can make it after 25,
Yeah.
just for the purposes
Of me.
of you. So everything's about Haley. No, it's okay.
Even though
We
my
love
life at 25 was completely different.
But I do want to talk about maybe traditions and how our generations have evolved. And
Totally.
I find it interesting because I think about myself a lot in my own capacity. You know, I'm 30 and a lot of my friends are married and have kids already. And when I...
Do you feel pressure?
A little bit, yeah. But when I started my career, or about 3.5 years into my career, I got a financial advisor. I was kind of conned into it, to be honest, but then after I actually got conned into it, I realized it was a good thing for me. And
it seems like such an adult thing.
I know,
it's
right?
such an adult thing to do.
Once you
You're
do
actually
that-
making good money when you need a financial advisor.
Well,
Okay, yeah. First of all, you're rich, obviously. So what's up?
no.
We're poor,
So-
struggling law
No.
students over here, and you got like a damn
Loans.
financial
No,
advisor.
no. So actually, let me tell you, when I was going to go meet with this financial advisor, I met him and had done all this research like immediately prior to meeting him about needing a financial advisor if you're broke. I literally Googled that. If you Google it, it comes up. Because number one, I got conned into the financial advising meeting in the first place, right? And
like
I don't
a friend
even really
referred
know.
you or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's one of my boss's friends too. So I'm like,
You had
trying
to do
not
it,
to be
yeah.
rude, and I
Right,
had just kind of
okay.
started at the firm. But then when I actually sat down with him, what he did was he brought me to this really beautiful conference room in downtown LA. I could see my building. It's no different than my view, but it's still really nice, And he presented my finances to me and like what I needed for retirement and how much I needed to save every
That's
month.
cool.
And, if I bought a life insurance, how equity would build up in it and what would happen if I bought it now versus later, and how I can modify my financial advising plan depending on how much income I have coming in, how much I don't. He gave me advice on when is going to be the right time to buy a house based upon my financial position. So that's a stereotype. Like, financial advisors are really the problem with financial advisors is that they're sellers, right? So it comes off like you don't want to talk to them. But if you
because my thought is just like they're just trying to get a commission.
I know
Exactly.
But the life insurance policy.
right.
That
But if
really
you
does.
actually sit down and talk to them and you're thinking about it in a serious sense, and you have to be ready for it. Like, I was already a couple years into my career when I first met up with him. It wasn't like I got out of law school and then started talking to him.
Straight to him.
But what he does is he goes through all the steps and says, where do you see yourself in a year from now? Where do you see yourself in 3 years from now? 5 years from now? What assets do you plan on owning within the next 10 years? And he breaks all that down, and that's how he comes up with your plan based on your life goals. And the one thing that he said after the 45-minute little interview session he gave with me was, you never mentioned getting married and having kids. He goes, that's so interesting, because we sat here for 45 minutes and you talked about, owning a business, all this investment property that you want to have, buying your parents a house, getting yourself involved in multiple careers, but you never mentioned wanting to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of had that mindset. I definitely want to get married, but I've never been so set in stone that if I don't get married and I don't have kids, that
That's the end of the world.
I didn't fulfill my life. And a lot of people try to, especially in our older generation, try to tell us that, well, you're going to regret it. My best friend is 47 and her husband is 49, and they don't have kids and they're happily married. And if you ask them now, do you regret it? They say no.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny because we were actually kind of talking about that, or I was talking that with Kim, our all-mutual friend who kind of connected us, who we worked with, who Haley and I worked with. And yeah, she was saying she doesn't want to have kids either. I'm like, I can't believe it when people say that. It just, and you say like the older generation says you're gonna regret it. It's like, having kids is fucking awesome. Like, it is like a little mini clone of you.
Right.
First of all.
It's like sitting there talking.
Second of all, the thing, it's a fucking human being that loves you so much.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he is obsessed with me.
Aww.
When I drop him off at his mom's house, he cries. As soon as he
Every
sees
time?
me, every time.
It's
And,
like my dog.
Dude,
my
it's
dogs
like
are so
your
excited
dog.
to
When
see
you get
me
home, they're
every
so excited to see
single
you.
day.
Exactly. Dude,
I wish that everyone looked at me like that every day, right?
Imagine having a little human that A, kind of looks like you, B, is your flesh and blood. He or she will carry on your legacy.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally you cloned in a little person. You get to bestow upon them all of your knowledge, all of your life experiences, and make that person and shape them into a better little you who's then gonna carry on your DNA and your legacy and stuff. And they just love you to death. They're obsessed with you. Like, you see on my Instagram stuff, like, just cuddling and holding my hand and taking him to Disneyland. And, and this goes for both my kids. But, like, I go take a shit and he's, like, standing right there. Like, what's up, Dad? Like, literally wants to, like,
That's
be
funny.
hanging out all the time. Like,
That's
loves me so
cute.
much I can't even go take a piss without him, like, wanting to come and, like, be like, what are you doing? Like, he's just like, I just love you so much. I just want to know what you're doing right now.
And you don't need to be married to experience all of that joy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
I'm anti-marriage.
That's true.
And that is
I'm not anti-marriage.
Pro-children.
I love. I can't wait to get married.
Pro-children,
and I can't wait to have
anti-marriage
kids.
over here.
Well, I can't wait. I can wait to have kids. I'm not ready for that. But I want
Have kids young is my first advice. And it's weird.
Young?
I've wanted to have kids since I was like 18, 19 years old. Okay, so it's funny because people who don't know me are kind of like, oh, you have 2 kids and you're not married and they're with different women and this, that, and the other. I'm like, dude, I've always wanted to have kids. Kids are great. You should totally do it. And do it young because they're a lot of fucking energy.
But do it because you want to do it, and don't do it because you feel like you have to
Yeah.
do it.
Totally.
And you'll get pressured a lot from your parents who are really like that last generation of, hey, you get
Tradition.
married and
Yeah.
have kids, and
Parents
that's what you
want
do.
grandkids though. Like they're just
But
obsessed with that.
our parents' generation is super traditional. Like you got to get married and you got to do that. So it's crazy though because my parents have been like totally most untraditional parents ever, and like never even batted an eye at the fact that like I was having kids not married. Never batted an eye that I was having like a second kid from a second woman that I wasn't married to.
Right.
And so they're totally unjudgmental, and it's kind of rare, I think. But like, it's funny because Hudson's mom, my son's mom, she did not want kids at all. I wanted kids so bad, and honestly, her and I were dating, and that's part of the reason why like me and her didn't ever work out, because I was like, yo, like I want kids, and at the time I was like 25, 26 when we first started hanging
I
out.
wonder who won that battle.
And
Right.
she's like,
You
no,
did. You
I'm
were
not.
like, you're pregnant.
She's like, no, I'm not having kids. Like, I don't want kids, not until I'm like 30. And she was like much younger than me. She's probably like 4 years younger than me. So anyways, she was, like 22 or 21 at the time. And she's like, no, I'm not having kids till I'm like 30. I'm like, then there's really no point, because I was like, I'm ready for kids. Anyways, it was crazy how she got pregnant. It was completely unplanned. She was on birth control. No, listen, this is the story. She was on birth control. I think it's like the one that goes in your vagina
Oh, that little.
for like 3
Side?
months. Or no,
Yeah.
wait, no, it goes in there
I
for
get
like, and
that.
it's like good for like 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So she was on that, and then she was switching over to one that you get like a shot in your arm every 3 months.
Oh.
I think,
Oh,
right?
right. My
Is that
friend
like-
is on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much
It's
about
like
it,
that
but
period
anyways,
between.
there was like probably
Window?
like 2
Little window.
days.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was like maybe like a mix over of like 2 days where it didn't work, and she actually had gotten the birth control. I'm reversed. She was getting the shot, and then she went to the one that goes in your vagina, because she had it in her when she found out she was pregnant. And it's weird because when you get that put in you have to do a pregnancy test, and it came back negative. So like literally must have happened like right before, but she felt like
Oh my gosh.
she was still covered, and she got pregnant. So I was like, oh, what are we gonna do? I was like, I definitely want to keep it. I want to have a kid.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know where I was
it's
going with that story.
really-
She didn't. Where I was going with that story is, she did not want kids. Totally didn't want kids. Now she's like, this is the best thing that's ever happened. And like for her entire family too. Like
Yeah.
her parents absolutely adore him. It literally like it's a game changer. Like her parents, their 2 kids were like, they're her parents. So Hudson's grandparents have his mom, Miranda, my ex, who's like 25 now, and then they have a son who's like 22, 23. They were getting to that age where it's like, oh, our kids are growing up and moving out of the house and not wanting to hang out with us, and like we're like that older couple now who like, what do we do with ourselves in our life? Like we get super involved in like charities and this, that, and the other. And to me it seems like at that age you're kind of like, also looking for something back in like your 50s, like what's next in life. you know, we still have to work, we're not at retirement. Boom, this grandkid comes along and you're just like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like, total game changer for everyone's life.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it, and I think that it's really inspirational. I don't know if that's the right word that I'm trying to use, but it's so good to see that you can be happy with kids or be married without kids. You can do whatever you want to do, and you don't need to follow what everybody tells you to do. You know, your two baby mamas, as I'm going to call them, that's what you call them.
That's what they are.
The two baby mamas, they accept that, and that's the only way that the relationship will work. I was in a relationship for a really long time that him and I did not agree about monogamy. And
Who didn't agree?
He didn't agree, probably.
he didn't agree. And a lot of people do take it as like, okay, he's just a douchebag, he's an asshole. And I am very happy that I'm not with him anymore. But it was a learning experience of learning how
How long were you guys together?
understand other people a really long time.
Talking to your mic a little bit more, by the way.
Okay.
I had
Can
to
you
act
guys
like
hear
that.
me now?
Totally understand.
A really long time.
So, how long's a really long time? I mean, that's different for everyone. Like, a year is a really
it
long
was
time
like
to me.
10 years.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
It's like-
So, you and him were together for 10 years, and basically he openly told you he's not down for monogamy.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't tell me that when I first met him, obviously, because then I would have been
So,
like...
so what do you do when you find out with that? Like, already in
That's,
bed?
like,
Like,
tough.
how long had you guys been together when you found out about that?
Well, he was, from what I perceived, cheating on me from early on,
Mhm.
and I was really young,
Don't-
like super young. I was like 18.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So I was just like, yeah, it's fine, you know. And then like
Was he
it
older?
spiraled on. He was 5 years older than me, or 4 years
That's
older than
relatively normal. At
Yeah.
18, that might be a little high.
me. We worked together, so you know, that's how we met. But
Worked where?
we met at a restaurant. We were servers. But it's just, you know, he is still like that today.
You guys keep in touch?
Here and there, you know, it kind of goes back to like the modern day types of relationships. Like, we didn't have kids or anything like that, but we spent a long time together. And like the
10
one
years
thing,
is a long fucking time.
yeah, and the one thing that we said when we broke up, even though our breakup was more gradual over a span of a couple years, like it really wasn't like, okay, we're done. It just didn't really work like that. So we always said that we would just, you know, try to maintain friendships. But he believes that monogamy is not meant for the human body.
I have
And
to agree.
There's
I
a
feel
lot of
exactly
people
the same
who agree
fucking
with
way.
that. I went to therapy once and told that to a therapist, and she said, you know, there's a lot of scientific evidence that backs that up. And I said, I know.
Really?
This is so weird
He-
that we're talking about this. This is exactly what I was thinking I want to talk about.
He showed it to me.
I guess-
Like, he tried to...
Dude, it's true. Like, first of all, we're animals. Just like every other animal out there. And we were kind of talking about that a little bit with your situation and mating rituals and things like that. Because humans have mating rituals. Humans are animalistic. God or science or whoever made us made specifically us like men that we want to impregnate a bunch of women. That's how, otherwise the human race would have never gone on. Like, dude, it's just, if you think about it, it's like that's how men are made. Women are, and it's like that. It's like this in all of animals. Like the men have to fight for the woman, or they have to like put on some display, like peacocks or whatever. They like flash their feathers at the woman. They just walk around like a bunch of animals. They do this thing where they like have this mating ritual. The woman's like looking like, which man am I gonna pick? And the lions, like the two lions are fighting over the lioness, and whichever one wins gets the lioness. And it's like the woman in every single type of species that I'm aware of is like, you know, sitting there like, which one am I gonna choose? Like, which peacock has like the bigger feathers and like the nicer, prettier feathers, or like whatever it is, or can run faster. Like each animal species has its own thing. Same in our generation. But not in our genre, in our species, but men are, I think, scientifically, like genetically made to want to have, like, hook up with a bunch of girls.
Neil deGrasse had an episode about this very same topic.
Yeah.
And
Who is, I never heard of him.
oh, he's like
A scientist.
Yeah,
like,
scientist.
famous dude
Yeah.
who knows a lot of shit.
very popular.
I don't really know much about him, but I do know he's smart.
He had a show about that, and I do believe that there is scientific evidence that obviously backs it up, but it also goes kind of back to tradition, you know, like I don't say that I'm not a traditionalist at all, because there are some things that I traditionally want, like I want to get married, but I'm not religious.
Yeah.
So what's my drive behind getting married? Tradition, right? It's not, I'm not trying to marry someone for, you know, their money, right, or their legal benefits. I want to marry someone because I genuinely want to be with someone, but I've only learned that through society and through tradition.
Yeah.
So for me, I can't justify being with someone who believes that, because even though I somewhat respect him for believing that, I can't be with you.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's
his own
never
belief.
going to work because I'm too influenced by societal norms.
Or just what you want.
You know, what I want,
You know,
right.
at the end of the day, it's what you want, and that's what he wants.
So it's,
Yeah,
but
I mean-
it's interesting because you meet a lot of people who actually believe that.
Marriage is like something new
Especially
for
men.
our species, first of all. Like, our species as humans, marriage is a new thing. Like, humans were around for decades, centuries, without anything having to do with marriage. Like, it was just created, I'm pretty sure probably through the church. Like, whoever
Yeah,
first
it's
did it was
religious-based.
just like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, like, you two are fucking married. Here's a little ring, put it on your finger, and now she has to do whatever the fuck you say. Like, it was probably started by, like, kings of, like, or, like, someone who was important in the church.
It's a very degrading
Yeah,
position.
the
for
king of the
sure.
Church
I'm
of
pretty sure
England
it's
was
in the Bible.
probably like, I'm gonna make these
so,
women do whatever I say, and the church is gonna put rings on them. And so then, like, now, thousands of years later, our culture is still like, yo, like, we're changing it, obviously, but hey, this is, like, still something that we do. I'm not cool with marriage. Let me just put it that way.
Well, I don't think you have to be married, but to be with someone and love them and be in a committed relationship, I don't think that's bad to have kids with someone and you're just in a relationship with them and you guys have been together, but not with someone who just wants to be with everyone else too. That's
Right.
just not fair.
I
Especially for women, because we're emotional and
I
we're
agree.
territorial,
agree.
and it's just not fair for us to put everything into you and then you want to put it all into other people.
I agree. And it's
What are we talking about? Pudding. What?
Not not that.
You're like, put it into us, and then you want to put it into a bunch of
Okay.
other. Just fucking say it.
I'm not talking about that.
it's just, you know, I think it's a modern way of thinking. So that's why I appreciate it, because it forces people to be their own people. But just because you scientifically believe something or you believe something to be a fact does not mean that you avoid, let's say, a significant other's reasoning on why they don't like it because it's based on emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Because guys take facts and girls react with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And there has to be a balance, an understanding that that's how each person reacts and forgiveness for it. Because if not, you're just wanting the other person to be something they're not. And that's how it's never going to work.
I think the way that good relationships work is where the couple understands, like a man and a woman, they understand, like, we're different creatures and we do things differently. And if you can understand that and see the other person's side of you, I think that can lead to a good relationship. Now, don't get me wrong, everything I've just said about that, about how I think men, you know, are wired to want to be with other women and stuff. I've been in faithful relationships. Like, I've been faithful to women. And just like everything, we evolve. Like, humans evolve as a species and stuff. So it's an evolutional process, I think, and we're evolving. And also, again, it has to do with, like, just society and traditions and things like that, and fitting into that. And you make sacrifices. Like, everything in life is a sacrifice. You sacrifice something to go to school. You're sacrificing something to be here right now to do this podcast. And so you find someone that you care about, you love, you want to build together, you want to be partners, and, you know, everyone makes sacrifice. A woman, if a couple gets together and they want to have kids, the woman has to sacrifice her body in a way That, you know, so.
I think that is very, very well said, because I'm in a very nice, very healthy relationship now.
From what I've heard, it sounds fucked up.
It's like a great relationship.
No,
I
I'm just
adore him dearly. And the reason why him and I get along so well is because we have that understanding of exactly how you put it. He enjoys gender norms, and I've told him that, and he's agreed with me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not in a degrading manner, because the norms that he believes to be true are pretty much the same norms that I believe to be true.
Mm.
Because I believe that women should do certain things,
Yeah.
and men should do certain things.
Like opening the door, not the
Right.
car door necessarily, but just like the door when you're walking inside. It's nice.
And we
Totally
both have that
agree.
understanding, so I'm not cooking because he makes me, I'm cooking because I
Want to.
thoroughly want to cook for him, and I actually enjoy the activity of cooking, right? Like, that's something I've always been
Just nurturing.
enjoying
Yeah.
to do since I was a little girl, right?
There's a reason
So,
they're like norms, they're like stereotypes. I mean, there's a
stereotypes
reason.
exist for a reason, absolutely.
Exactly.
Stereotypes absolutely exist for a reason. And I enjoy basing things off of stereotypes because I think it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah.
If you just accept stereotypes for what they are, you accept that it's a fact, it is what it is, and you move on with your life rather than getting upset about it.
Yeah.
But interesting that we're on this topic now because Sabrina had actually recommended us this show called Easy on Netflix.
Great show.
So I started popping that on, and the first episode was about gender norms. And the guy is basically saying, one guy is telling this other guy who's married, like, there's a study that shows that married couples who, like, are more involved in the gender norms, where the man goes off and works and the woman stays at home and cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids, enjoy a better sex life. And the couple he was telling that to, the man was the homemaker and stayed at home with kids.
Oh.
And the woman was the bread maker. And so he was like, no, that, and, you know, his wife comes over, they get into it, and they're like, no, that's not true, that's not true. Well, then it goes and takes a look into their life, and it's like, it's clearly true. And as I was thinking about that, I'm like, if I was in that situation, I can totally see how that would be true. You know, like, as a guy, you know, and I'm like a real, like, guy's guy, I have to say. Like, I kind of, you know, fit a lot of the norms and things like that, where it's like, I'm the type of guy that wants to be the primary breadwinner. I'm the type of guy that, like, wants to be the protector, and I don't know what other norms I fit, but, like, you know, it's true. Like, if I was having to stay at home and cook and clean and take care of the kids, which, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff and doing that stuff, but if the woman was the one out making the money and then coming home, my masculinity would be killed.
Yeah.
So I would lose my sex drive.
Really?
I think it can be mutual, like it is with you and your husband, or I
Yeah.
mean boyfriend. But
It's okay, I accidentally called him my husband this morning through his face.
That's funny.
no way. What did
Yeah.
he say?
We were talking about his brother who was married, and I was hanging out with his sister-in-law yesterday, and I made a joke about marrying the wrong Abdullahi. And I was like, wait a minute, we're not married. You didn't even react to it. So I appreciate it, babe. Thanks for putting up with me.
You're a psycho.
I know, I'm like,
I'm surprised you
I
didn't
probably
run.
look like a psychotic idiot.
But no, what are you guys' thoughts on that? Like gender roles, like where the woman is, you know, the man's primary breadwinner and that type of stuff. What do you think? Do you think that would kill? We're talking like later, 10 years down the road when you have kids. and
Yeah, I
stuff.
think that would kill a relationship and a sex life, because, like, I feel like men just are really masculine. They like doing those kind of things, and it's kind of like short man syndrome. Like, you just can't do it anymore, and you just get mad, and you kind of resent that person because they're making more money. They're making the money, and you're just at home doing nothing. I can see if it's like equal, y'all are both making the money, and, you know, both working, both coming in, you know, supporting each other. But I guess maybe when the woman's doing it and the man, I don't know, I would probably feel like less of my man if he was doing that too. Like, you're not really helping me.
I think that's what the
You're not
show
really
kind
doing
of put out there.
anything.
Was like the wife was kind of feeling it, and the husband was feeling less masculine, and the wife was feeling like,
Yeah,
you're a
you're
little bitch boy.
You're just not helping. You're just
I just
you
don't.
should be the man.
If he was at home with the kids, you're saying that he wouldn't help?
I don't know. I feel like he
of how
can
women
help
are
by working
perceived.
as well. And we could both work. Like, why do
I
you have
agree.
to be at home and just like sitting around getting fat? Or I don't know, maybe working out, but still, it's just like you're just sitting there doing upping our kids are good. Like
I think
they
we
can
really
have
got.
daycare.
I think we really got Haley's perspective
I
on
can't wait
it.
for Haley to have kids. She's like, the kids are just at home. They're
No,
good.
I'm saying like they can have daycare. Like that's the purpose of like school, preschool, and stuff like that.
Right.
You know.
No, I agree. Yeah, the dad, I don't think should just stay home. But
You know, I disagree. I think that if you find someone who you already know is hardworking, and the other person is in a position where they make more than enough money to care for the entire household and some, and you want to avoid just working to put your child in daycare because daycare is really expensive, and you want to give your child the opportunity to not grow up with like a nanny. I see that a lot in my industry. Like a lot of attorneys I work with are always like, I gotta go relieve the nanny. Like they're working professionals. I know an attorney who's married to an ER doctor, and he lives in San Francisco, and he's always down here in LA. I'm like, how do you guys do it? Because she works crazy hours. You know, she works through the night, and then he's more than a full-time lawyer that also is required to travel for work, and they have 3 little boys.
jeez.
Right? And they
I don't think I would want a nanny though. I think my mom or someone in my family helping me
Yeah,
out would be
of
better
course you
than a
would want
nanny.
that, but that's a lot of
but
people
that's
don't have
not
that
always the
opportunity.
I guess that's
situation,
true,
you
yeah.
know? Like that's assuming that they can do that, and you're in a position that they
Yeah.
can do that. Like my mom lives in Florida. If I had 3 kids right now, my mom would not be helping me.
Same. My mom lives in
My
Maine.
mom would move.
So my mom would
But it's just
probably
like my
move
mom.
too.
So
But you never know.
I
what
thought
the
that.
situation
I was
is.
like, yo, no, I swear to God, I was like, dude, my mom loves me so fucking much. Like, she's gonna love my grandkids as soon as I have kids.
That's
she's moving
hilarious.
out here. She's kind of tried, but like, you know, it's just like,
The full effort has not been there.
yeah, it's like you can't.
she's
just,
in Maine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big move.
So
she is
I-
out here all the time.
I just think that it just really depends on the circumstance. I think that if you
So
know,
what's the plan with you and your boyfriend? Like,
I think it's based on how you want to raise your kids.
you said you're not really like looking at having kids, but if you guys were gonna have kids, if you got pregnant, then what?
In
You're gonna
the
tell him to stay home?
extreme hypothetical that I got pregnant, I would not tell him he needs to stay home. No, I would not tell him that he needs to stay home.
What would you
If he offered to stay home, which I think that he probably would, if he offered to stay home, I don't think I would look at him any less because of it.
I don't think you definitely don't go
Go
into
into
the
it.
situation thinking,
Yeah,
oh,
you're
I'm
like,
gonna
oh,
think
that's so
something less.
nice, thank
It's
you.
like I'm saying, like 10 years down the road when the kids are like, 8, 9, and 10, and you're like this boss ass lawyer,
Right.
like slaying cases, making bank, and he just was like, yo, I'm like, yeah, we're taking, the kids have a field trip today. And
But that's a lot of
we're
work,
going to the
man.
museum.
Like you have
well,
2
it's a lot of work,
kids.
but I just feel like it would kill
That's
the sex
so
life.
much work.
Just speaking sex life only. I mean, you can still have a great relationship. But then what's interesting, back on what we were talking about, is later in the season, an episode comes out where that same couple's then like, we're going to have an open relationship now.
Mhm.
Married for mad long with kids.
What type of
Yeah.
show is this? Is it scripted?
Scripted.
Yeah, it's scripted. I'm
It's-
telling
it's a
you,
show
you should
show.
watch
I
it.
told you that.
Everybody
Okay,
should
I'm
watch
gonna
it.
watch
It's called
it.
Easy on
Yeah.
Netflix. It's
ESY?
really,
Or
really, really good.
ESY?
What it does is it takes modern day topics. I don't know if I want to call it modern day. It takes concepts that people may not necessarily be comfortable talking about and puts them in play from a real life perspective. Nothing that they show on Easy is out of
It's not out of the world. It's
It's-
like real stuff
Yeah.
that
It's
everyone's
things that
gonna do.
happen that people just don't talk about that much.
Veganism,
thank you.
open relationships, gender norms. I can't remember some of the other ones. Illegal activity.
Have you gotten to the episode of, you have, because I think it may have been in the same episode of modern day prostitution?
Yeah. Oh, I just started watching that.
That one's interesting.
Just
There's a
started
girl
watching
who lives in this lavish condominium or apartment in like a downtown area, and she enjoys as a hobby like literature and poetry and art.
Very smart individual.
And she's very intelligent, but she is a full-time hooker. And she's very open about
Like
it.
on the street?
No.
Or just like
It's a
It's probably more. It seems like it's more
Luxury.
word of mouth type thing where guys who have money are saying, "Hey, yeah, I
like
have
an
this."
escort.
Yeah. Okay. But she just comes over to their house and bangs them. But she's like, it seems like it's a regular thing. Like she probably goes over there like every couple weeks.
and she maintains like emotional relationships with these people, and that's how they
Yeah.
get
Yeah,
her hooked, and they keep paying her. but it's presented
Wow.
in such a, hey, like, the stereotype is usually what you initially mentioned. But the reality of how it's being played out in today's world, especially in Europe,
Yeah.
where it's legal, is this is what it's really like.
I'm sure it goes on. I'm sure there's tons of women out there, and I think with Instagram, you see
yeah.
all these girls with tons of Instagram followers and all these nice things and stuff. I mean, who knows what they're really doing, but it's hard to imagine that they're not doing something like what that show says. And the reason I think that's because, like, the show puts it out there, and I think that it is something. And
I just want to say that we do not approve of any criminal activity ever on this show, regardless of what we talk about. You know, we're talking about it in the capacity of what you think it would look like versus what it actually is like in today's world, and that's the only comparison that we're trying to make.
but
Because it's
talk
really-
more about what the show shows it to actually be like, because Haley obviously thinks
I
it's like
haven't
on the
seen it.
street.
No, she just gets a phone call or an email or probably a text, and it's like, hey, you know, are you free this day? And she books services, and they pay her like an enormous amount of money according to the
Wow.
show. And she lives in this beautiful, beautiful condo in downtown. And she's got a friend over, and this friend met her through this like literature club that they're part of.
So does she have like a real relationship with anyone, or is it just like all these different relationships with different men that she's
Wasn't
getting paid?
there a
I only got to
scene?
like a 15 minutes into it.
No, there actually is no scene of her being in a relationship, but there is a scene of the friend asking her when she finally discloses it to the friend, because the friend says, "You must be selling so many books because you live in this beautiful place." And she goes, "Actually, no, I'm a hooker." And she says it so naturally, like, I'm a hooker. And the friend had asked her, "What's it like when you're dating people?" And she's like, "It's not an easy conversation."
Yeah.
But
I imagine
Yeah,
men
there's
like
no
maybe.
way you could.
But maybe that she's the type of person who doesn't really
Wanna be
have
in a
an interest
relationship,
in being in a relationship and be married and all that stuff, and something else drives her, and she wants to do something different, like be a criminal.
I wonder what's the difference between that and like being like a porn star. Like it's like the
Not
same
much
thing.
of a difference. Honestly, I think that porn star is pretty similar. Like, I think that there's a lot of guys out there who probably are just like rich dudes who are like, I'm gonna start like a porn business, and they're just like paying porn stars
Yeah.
like whatever $5,000 to just like bang them, and then they like put the video online. I mean, I can't imagine it being any different. But I think that most of like the men actors in porn stars are just like rich dudes that are just paying to like
That's true.
bang a porn star.
Well, there's a lot more regulation that goes on in the porn industry. I mean, what we're talking about is an unregulated industry in the United States.
And it's illegal.
So it's illegal,
Yeah.
right? So now it's legal in other countries. So it's interesting to see how, even though people here are committing an illegal act when they do it, how it's not necessarily this like trashy, high on drugs, dirty,
yeah.
Mhm.
individual that is going around accepting money for sex. You know, they make it seem on the episode. I mean, it's only a 30-minute episode, so there's only so much they can talk about. But they make it seem like she really does try to make sure that it's people that she's referred to, people that she can verify before she actually enters into any agreement with them. So it makes it appear as if she's
So she doesn't
trying
have a
to do
pimp
it.
or anything. She does it all on her own.
No, it's like, imagine the
It's like
stereotype
a-
and take it away, and
Yeah,
you
exactly.
meet not me, another person one day that's like, hey, you know, I have all this money and I drive this Porsche because I'm a hooker. And
She's
you-
like a small bit. She's like an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
like
Right.
a small business owner. Like,
Okay.
instead of cutting hair, she's sucking dick.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
but you know, prostitution is an interesting topic because it's legal in parts of Nevada.
Wait, for real?
It is. Yes.
So I'm wondering, what are your guys' thoughts on prostitution? Like, as women, do you think that it should be legal? Because I think that it could maybe do some good for the nation because there's tons of like it would allow there to be regulation like there is in the porn industry. Whereas right now it's like so underground, so illegal that there can't be any real regulation.
I don't know. It just seems dangerous to make that kind
In
of
what way?
legal. Just because like these women, it's easy for them to be exploited, and it just
But-
seems like it runs along like trafficking and
Yeah,
things
that's
like
the
that.
problem I have is like human trafficking. But if there was like, if you could regulate it, and you're saying like taking advantage of, if you could regulate it, then I feel like there would be less of that. Like know, like there'd be like specific enterprises and businesses that are the quote unquote pimps that are, and then it's like you can only take so much percentage. Whereas right now it's like if a woman wanted to do it, she had to get a pimp and he could be taking 80%, and she doesn't have a choice because it's not regulated.
I think that your concerns, Haley, are resolved through regulation. I really do think they are. I think that even with the porn industry, you probably don't have a good perspective of how regulated the porn industry is. So,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah, there's a lot of laws and a lot of legislation on the porn industry. And it's interesting because there was a porn star who went to Western State.
For real?
Where we went to law school.
Wow. Did she graduate?
She did. She graduated. She passed the bar.
That's kind of cool.
You know how I found out about that? I Yelped Western State before I enrolled, and I
It was on
saw
Yelp?
she had left a Yelp review on there, or someone.
So she
had
does
left a
porn
Yelp
now.
review. No, she did porn before.
Oh,
I don't know what she
okay.
does now, but
Um,
that wasn't around when you went, was it?
yeah, she graduated. I had classes with her.
No way.
So she graduated a year before me, I think.
Wow, that's
She was.
Western State is so accepting. I like that.
I don't want to say that she was like this, like, oh, you meet Haley and you would never guess that she's this, smart, beautiful, tall girl, but she's really a porn star. She wasn't like that. You looked at her
You
like
kinda
you
knew
could
something
tell
was up.
she was a porn star. And she was somewhat bright, obviously, because she went to law school and passed the bar, so I don't want to doubt her in that sense. But the one thing that she could offer, like very professionally and in a very educated manner, was a spiel about the porn industry. And she actually put on a debate at the law school. It was set up with another law student, and this porn star law student advocated for the condom ordinance that was being
I remember that.
argued
a few
in
years
LA,
ago, there was like a
whether men should wear condoms while they're filming pornography.
Oh, okay.
And there was another law student who was against it, and they did very political topics and debates on the issue. And through that, you really learn how regulated the porn industry really is, and how safe it really is, and like what you think is your risk of STD is not how they perceive it, because they're tested so often.
Aren't there porns that are just made that aren't with the company, just kind of like amateur, and those like aren't regulated, just like just.
There's going to be a lot of illegal porn, just like there's a lot of illegal.
I feel like it opened the door to
Everything.
legal prostitution. It would just be like, okay, well I don't know. I don't know.
But that's kind of like saying if you legalize marijuana, it's going to open the door to everything else.
That's true.
And
As we know, legalizing it is going to actually be beneficial.
Yeah.
right.
I wonder what the prostitution industry is in the United States. I would assume it's probably $1 billion industry.
It's
Taxes.
probably
Legalize it,
$1
taxes.
billion industry in the state of California, let alone just the rest of the United States. I don't know if I'm for or against it, to be honest, and I think I might need to research it a little bit more before I make
I couldn't really say either. There's pros, there's obviously cons.
But I do see the pros and cons for sure.
Regulation is always a huge con. I mean, a huge pro. Maybe we bring a porn star guest on, talk to them about it and stuff.
That'd be cool.
I worked with a few men who did pornography when I was bartending. They were bartenders, and so I know a little bit about it. I'm trying to think. I feel like I know some girls who've done a little pornography also, but not like as a full blown thing. But I'm sure we could get like either a man or a female porn star and talk to them about that type of stuff.
We could probably get her to come on the show.
Oh, the lawyer that'd be pretty nuts.
Can we take a break?
We have 10 more minutes.
I know.
You want a break real quick?
I do want a break.
Okay. And we're back.
And we're back.
Miss
I
Sabrina
had a little potty break.
had to use the potty, I guess. Like,
Really
from
bad.
now on, I feel like
Like,
before we
super
start the podcast, I'm gonna have to be the dad. Like, did everyone use the bathroom before we get in the car? Type thing.
Especially for me, I feel like I have a small bladder, and I go to the bathroom multiple times in 1 hour, and I also drink a lot of.
I think you have a problem.
Coffee.
That sounds
Get closer to your
horrible.
mic.
I drink a lot of coffee.
Talk like this.
Hi.
Yeah, there you go.
That sounds
Hello.
horrible. I would hate that.
I
That
feel
sounds.
like coffee makes you poop. It doesn't make you pee.
It's the milk in the coffee maybe that makes you poop.
Girls don't poop, so
Yeah, you're right. We don't poop or sweat.
yes.
Damn, that's awesome. Yo, but you just brought up a funny topic that I kind of want to talk about. Was like the shopping cart. Was that like your pet peeve or something?
What the hell?
She just came back from the potty break and was like, "Whoa, shopping carts. Why do people put them away?"
Why?
Speak on it.
It's right there. You
Speak on
lazy ass. Same thing with
people are lazy.
picking a parking spot. Why are you waiting
Or
for
picking
the
up your
closest
dog
parking
poop.
That
spot?
fucking pisses me
Where
off.
there's a ton of parking spots right here. Just walk a little
I
bit.
fucking hate it when people are trying to get that one parking spot that's like way closer. I'm like, dude, right 4 cars down and there's 100 parking spots. Like, why do you need that one? But as far as the shopping carts go, job creation. That's why I'm down with leaving my shopping cart like right where my car
Job
is.
security.
No.
Job creation. You're creating a job.
No.
Whatever it is, Target or whoever has to pay someone to go out and collect them.
I'm sorry.
That person has a job.
When I had to pay $2,000 in order to fix my
car,
with
yeah, people
all the
fuck up
little
people's
dents,
cars.
the little different dents along my car, I was just tired of looking
That
at the
does suck.
little shopping cart dents.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about job security.
Well, there's pluses and there's minuses, but yeah, it's definitely. What's your pet peeve, Haley?
My pet peeve is when someone tells you they're gonna do something and then they don't do it. People don't follow through.
Speak on it,
I
girl.
hate when people don't follow through, so
What are you
I don't
talking
never
about?
do that.
Name drop.
No.
Name drop. Put them on
one.
blast.
No one. It happens a lot though, in just anything like friendships, like relationships. Like
second
anyone
that.
does that.
I just told Sapara the other day,
Oh my God.
I fucking hate it when people flake, and I hate making plans that I just disappear and never, like, follow up on. Like, I hate it when, like, you meet someone and you're like, hey, we should hang out, let me get your number, and then you just have a bunch of numbers in your phone that you never contact because you were, like, somewhat buzzed and figured, like, hey, it might be a good friend, but then you never actually maintain any contact with them.
Sounds like girl problems to me.
Okay.
I can't really relate.
What's
but
your pet peeve?
Maybe, I think girls do that more often than
I
guys
don't know. I
do.
think guys do that too, because guys just say they're gonna do something and they don't do it a lot. That happens to me all the time. Guys do that. They're just like, I'm gonna do this or I'm not gonna do that, and then they do it. So.
What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a
Lexus, right?
Lexus NX.
Ooh, I can't wait to be an
pretty
attorney.
It's
What's your
good.
pet peeve?
It's a great car.
I think
Represent.
my pet peeve is like when people get in a relationship, because you know, as I've already said, I'm like kind of anti-marriage, anti-relationship, and then they don't come around as much, or you can just tell like they're like whipped. I'm like, you mother. I guess it's
Like,
more
they
of
don't
like
have
a
a
guy
life.
thing. It's like a guy, because you girls wouldn't understand. You girls are the ones doing the whipping, and you love it. You're like, oh yeah, then my dude's whipped, and he ain't gonna go do shit. And I'm like,
First
yo,
of
dude,
all,
like.
First of all, sometimes you guys need some fucking direction, and that's all we're giving you. It ain't whipping; it's helping you.
And it's not a
Well,
bad.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
helping you achieve
The women
life.
think it's helping.
guy just
That's
wants-
the problem right there. The women think it's helping.
I think it's good that a guy, wants to be around his girl once he starts dating her and getting serious. I mean, there's always healthy, space hanging out with the guys and stuff like that. But
You absolutely need healthy space. Girls should not be telling guys, "No, I don't want you going to hang out with your
definitely
friends."
not.
Unless there's ill-mannered goals, especially with the friends.
Yeah, some friends are just bad influences.
Yeah, like
I think
that's
I'm
the
that
word
guy
I
to
need.
all
Yeah.
of my friends that are in relationships.
Like I heard that guys at this is probably normal, but guys at their bachelor parties they have prostitutes, and the married guys are the main ones that want the prostitutes, not the strippers. Like actual people coming to have sex with them. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was the strippers.
I've never been to a bachelor party.
Oh wow. Okay. Well.
I don't think I've ever heard that, but I believe that to probably be true.
Yeah. That's just crazy to me.
Well, I think that it's okay for a guy to be attached to his girl, and I think it's okay for a girl to be attached to the guy. And the reason why it should be okay for a guy to attach to a girl is because girls get attached to guys. So why can't it be the other way around? Like, why does it always have to be, well, the girl's the one that's going to get the attached, and the guy's the one that should not be whipped and should be able to do whatever he wants?
Yeah.
It should just be both people wanting to actually genuinely be in a relationship.
Both people being lame as fuck,
No.
being with each other, and just staying at home working on their garden.
That's not.
That sounds
that's
like
an
my
extreme.
That actually sounds like my life right now. So fuck you.
That seems like an extreme though. Like,
That's life after 30.
hey, you still have a life. You're doing this podcast here. It's not
But-
like you're with your man
Exactly.
right
I will say, I feel like Haley, because I know her and her dude's relationship pretty well.
now.
Well, I just got to say ex-dude. But anyways, I know that, and you seem like, as far as girls go, like a chill girlfriend. Obviously, you seem chill to me, but I don't know how your relationship is. For all I know,
I don't know. What do you think, baby?
You could have your dude at home right now, like fucking doing like
Just not like
laundry.
erratic, like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
No.
No, you have your dude waiting in the fucking car right now. I don't know. You're like, I'm going to do this podcast. You ain't
hilarious.
give me. You like took his fucking phone too. You're like, yeah, but he ain't going on Instagram. But like Haley seems like relatively chill.
I would never do
like
that.
she made a comment to me a while ago, basically how like, you know, the only thing that would kind of upset her would be like if she saw her man like a bunch of girls' photographs all at once, and it's like a random girl that he doesn't know.
On Instagram,
I'm like,
I have
on
an
Instagram
Instagram thing. I'm like an Instagram crazy person. I like look.
No, that's dude. That's not fucking crazy.
Find things.
You want to know what my crazy thing is? And I told Sapir this when I met him. I get unreasonably jealous about ex-girlfriends. Like, I cannot perceive how you could have ever been in a prior relationship prior to me.
I think
can't
that's
perceive
all
that.
girls, dude. I think that's
Guys,
all fucking girls.
a little bit.
It's just not fair.
no,
What
guys,
do you mean?
as
What
a-
do you mean you guys went to a concert together? I thought you didn't like her. Why would you go to a concert with her if you didn't like her?
Dude,
Babe, because I dated her for 8 months. I don't give a fuck what that means.
She's dead.
Yeah, she's not me. You've been waiting your whole life for me, and
Typical.
you should
I
have
think that's
known
pretty
that I was
normal.
coming.
I don't do that.
I'm
Okay.
like that.
I'm
Okay,
like
no,
that with-
that's
I'm like
typical
that with Instagram,
crazy
though.
girl. So you're clearly the typical crazy girl. You're like the typical
Thanks.
chill girl, but you have your breaking limit.
Wow.
No,
I'm
dude.
crazy.
Lots of girls are crazy. It's funny because like my first baby
No, girls
mama
are
was probably
crazy.
more like you,
Mm-hmm.
and my second baby mama was definitely more like you. We're like, yo, you don't even speak an ex-girlfriend's name. So it's like,
I am.
I like go somewhere and it's like, oh, I've been here before. Who are you here with? Well, I'm not gonna say. Oh, so it was your fucking ex? Fuck you. Why would you even bring that up? Like,
Why
dude,
would you even
all
bring
I'm
me
saying
here?
is
Why'd you
I've
bring me
been
here
to
to
this
the same
fucking
place?
place before,
so
and I'm just making
unreasonable.
conversation.
The logic makes no sense, but I just cannot control it. I don't know why. I know it makes no
It's so
sense.
crazy 'cause
and
it's
I
like-
told him I understand it makes no sense, but just let me be and let me be mad.
Yeah, but that's good that
Accept
he
it.
accepts
Move
you
on.
for that because a lot of guys don't. Some guys don't want you to ask
It's
questions.
crazy because there literally are these two types of girls, and I'm telling you, like my first baby mama was more like you, where it was like she wouldn't care if I followed like random hoes on Instagram
No, I
or went
care.
out.
I
But
care about
my
random
my
hoes.
second baby mama like
don't
literally
follow
could
me.
not follow a single person or like definitely couldn't ever talk about the ex-girlfriend. But like for you, I say totally okay. Like if a dude goes and follows a random girl that they don't know and likes more than one of her pictures in a row, totally sending out a mating call. Like that's a fucking mating call, dude.
You don't think
You
so?
do not go follow a random girl and like multiple pictures
I
of
know
her
what-
unless you want to hook up
A
with her.
random girl that's like trying to be an Instagram sensation.
Just any random girl.
I mean,
It's
if the girl has
oh,
like
she's
millions
pretty.
of followers,
That's
then
what I
okay.
mean.
If the girl has millions of followers, then that's
No,
chill.
that's
If
just
the
like-
girl has under
she's famous,
100K, then the guy is like totally trying to throw like a message out there.
I think that social
100K.
media has ruined us. Period. I'm not a big social media person. I'm sure you guys can tell between like my campaign and my regular one. Like it's so non-existent. Like I'm just not a social media person whatsoever. So for me, like if Sapir likes other people's photos, other girls' photos,
You wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't even know because
Yeah.
I'm not even number one looking at it. I don't even know how to look up how he's liked other people's photos.
I do.
And I know you do, girl.
Haley's a fucking
And-
stalker.
But if he starts liking his ex-girlfriend's photos,
You didn't
then
fucking
shit
know.
starts hitting the fan.
You would know?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting how that's
Yeah,
the one.
but,
thing.
shit starts, but it doesn't. If he talks to other girls, and I think that maybe he may have benefited from that because of my relationship with my ex. Like I just kind of learned to just be accepting of a lot, and a lot of it really just doesn't bother me whatsoever. So for me, like if I see him talking to another girl, or if he goes, out to lunch with another girl from work or something like that, it really, literally would not bother me. But the ex-girlfriend thing, oh hell no.
Yeah, it's that what it is for me. Instagram, and then like I just love being around
The guy.
my man, like all the time.
Fucking psycho. Okay, never mind. You guys are both psychos.
No, I'm not psycho. Don't call me
I
that.
actually think I'm
I'm
really
just
chill
kidding.
for a girlfriend.
Yeah,
you guys
like,
do seem
I
pretty
think
chill.
so.
The fact that you're saying that. But what I was telling Haley the other day is like, animals all have mating rituals and they evolve. Ours evolved, and now Instagram, and it depends on the person, obviously, but someone who's involved in Instagram, like as a guy, Instagram is now a mating ritual for men. And it's there's different
I never
types of
thought about it like
things.
that.
Like
People are getting married that met through Instagram.
Yeah, like there's different types of like things. Like
like
you go follow like a girl and then you like a bunch of her photographs. You're obviously saying like, hey,
if she likes
I'm
a bunch
here.
back, then you guys can DM.
Exactly. Then if a random girl starts following me and liked a photograph of mine from like months ago, I'm obviously gonna be like, okay, this girl wants to talk. However, like I keep my Instagram private and like locked down and stuff, so I don't follow a bunch of people or random people and stuff. Like, and I'm kind of different. I'm kind of an exception because I have kids and I don't even have time to date anyone.
That's
so it's
different.
like totally like. But I'm telling you, if Instagram,
I'm moving away from that habit though, guys.
You know the psycho, because you have to be pretty
don't call it
to
psycho.
know
Don't
to
call
know
it-
that your
You
dude
have to labelize it
is
as the psycho habit.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I don't want to be
Thank
rude.
you.
See, so
That's a very strong word to use. It's like using.
No,
the
I
R
mean
word.
it in a loving way.
it goes it goes back to
I'm a psycho, okay?
and I know that
Okay.
you're saying it. I know that you're saying it in a fun, facetious way, but it also goes back to what I talked about earlier: how men see things as facts and girls see things as emotion. And if you just label all of our emotion as just being crazy and psychotic, that's just not fair.
Yeah, and then a lot of girls are working off of like like being cheated on. Like I was cheated on,
Right,
And
exactly.
I feel like subconsciously that I could get cheated on again, and so I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean that's stuff that you have to work on your own,
No,
like individually.
Dude, don't take any relationship advice
Absolutely.
from me. I'm the most fucked up person.
Yeah, seriously, we're taking relationships.
Yeah,
advice
but
from
let me.
lawyer.
I was just wondering, how many ex-girlfriends has your boyfriend had?
that I know.
I was just
of,
kind of curious as you went into that conversation.
that I know of. Well, there was a fling, and
I'm-
he
oh,
describes her as a fling.
She needs to die.
Yeah, she should die. No, not at all. I think like maybe 3 or 4.
I was
Wow.
just kind of curious if he was like a dude who's had tons of relationships or like.
I feel
a
like most
couple
guys have a lot of
real longer
relationships.
ones.
That's an interesting topic with us because it's funny because of how I feel about the jealousy with exes. I'm the one of the two of us that have actually been in like a long-term relationship, relationship.
So he's your second boyfriend. You've had
Yes.
the one really long term, then him. How much time was between the two?
2 years.
Well, that's
Okay,
good.
so you went single. Good.
Yeah.
More power
yeah.
to you. That's good. After a
I've
10-year
dated
relationship.
I
Yeah.
dated people for like a couple months and like thought maybe it would be something serious and then realized that it was a disaster and there was no possible way that this could ever be serious. So I would only say it's my ex and him that I've really been in a relationship with. But I moved across the country with someone, so my past experience in relationship is just a little bit deeper than his, just a tad. And he did not come from that type of relationship. I don't even know if there was one that lasted more than a year. So I was a little bit worried about that when we first started dating because I'm walking into something that I feel like I have experience and I've learned from, and then what to do, what not to do, what realistic goals are versus what unrealistic goals are. And I was a little worried that I would have to struggle with the consequences of him not ever having that had experience, especially with work and I've got so much going on.
Like, has he ever lived with a girlfriend?
No.
Wow.
So, but it's worked out great. I mean, it's so natural. Nothing is forced. And I'm trying to be as patient as I am as possible with him. And I think he's trying to be patient with me too. And it's honestly working. I can count with less than 5 fingers how many times him and I've actually like gone into an argument that was serious, like we bicker all the time. But it's not.
Everybody does.
Yeah, but it's not like anything serious, and we always
love
try to
bickering.
make light out of it, and we joke about it, and then we make we make jokes about our arguments that are inside jokes. So it's really fun. Like hasn't been that bad. I think that when you meet a guy who's ready to settle down, and I'm hoping that that's what I'm interpreting this as, is that he is ready and he knows what he wants, and that's the sense I always got from him. Is like I feel like he met me and he was like, that's it. And you don't always have that. I mean, I went on so many dates online dating, and you don't have that, like, yes, 100%.
So you guys have been together for 6 months, right? You're
Yes.
still in the honeymoon period, though,
Oh,
I
I
have
know.
to say. Like,
Yeah.
you're so excited and stuff. I love it.
I know.
But how old is he?
We promised each other it would never die.
Aww. I love love.
Let's see how that works out.
How old is he?
35.
Okay, so that's a good age range.
Yeah, he's 35.
Everyone's good.
He's
6
great.
months. Nice.
I would love to have him on the show. He's
I
hilarious.
was just
Yeah,
about
we
to say
should-
that.
we
We
should
gotta have
bring
him
him,
on the show so
Yeah.
we can grill him and really see. Like,
Yes.
He's
I'll
hilarious.
pull out some good info on him.
He's got some jokes and a half. He's like a comedian.
That'd be
sometimes,
cool.
So yeah, he's really great.
We're at an hour, but
Well, we could
Let's wrap it up.
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
could-
Yeah.
I was gonna
wrap
say
it up.
we could keep going and give a little bit more content if we wanted, but
I just feel like I know people are gonna
I don't know. What do you guys
Go
think? Do you guys
past.
want to listen to us for longer?
an hour. I know a lot of
Call
people told me that
let's
they.
cut it. We have a lot of cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah, but
I
let's
think-
end it like in a good like. Let's say something.
We're ending it right now. Yeah, this is the ending. We'll bring
Okay.
the viewers along, but no. What I was gonna say is we have a lot of great stuff to talk about. I think people are gonna be intrigued to hear what we have to say next, and I think we can keep it going. I mean, I could talk a whole episode about your relationship.
Yeah, I could talk a whole season
I mean-
about your life. Let's
You're
be
thinking
honest.
about moving in with this guy after 6 months
What's wrong with
That's
that?
sweet. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. When you're over
too
30,
soon.
Yeah, people like
it's different.
with a guy who's never lived with a girlfriend.
He's
it's always
adapted
the first
well.
time. Yeah, there's always a first.
There's always a
Okay.
first.
Well,
and
Can't
hopefully,
say
anyways,
I'm moving
this-
and
because
hopefully
I'm
the
never
last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love how you're like, oh, I'm the chill girl. That's why I can't wait to get him on, get his side of things. What
I
the
just can't
real
wait to see your
truth-
dynamics.
What's the real truth here? She's
Yeah.
like, I'm the chillest girlfriend ever. Like, I don't care if she can do whatever. He comes on, he's like, dude, I don't even have Instagram. Like, she made me shut that shit down.
I made him delete one photo. Let's
she's
calm
like-
down.
She's like, yeah, I don't really care about Instagram. Comes to find out, that's because he doesn't even have it.
That's
Anyways,
so funny.
until next time.
Until next time.
Thank
table
you
talk.
for
we'll get to the
listening.
real truth. We're gonna be having some guests on, whether
Yes.
it's partners. I mean, hell, maybe we'll throw one of my baby mamas on here. That would be a fucking
That'd
crazy
be cool.
episode.
That would be cool.
Probably unlikely.
That'd be super cool.
More like some young professional entrepreneurs. We'll bring them on. And, I just want to say this was the first episode, so it was kind of a little bit all over
Yeah,
the place.
bear
We
with
kinda
us.
just let it roll. But, we're getting into I can't even fucking talk anymore, but we're just going to get into the swing of things, and we'll have topics and guests and
And we definitely want to take commentary and criticism.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're going out in the public light, you have to take criticism for what it is. And we want any comments, anything you liked, any topics.
yeah, we'd
anything
love
like
some
that.
feedback. Leave us some feedback.
Yeah. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Yes.
Sign us off, Haley. You're kind of our
So thank you
host.
for watching and listening to Not Illegal Podcast. We appreciate it.
Episode 1's out.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye.